All right, we're live. So welcome guys to the first ever YouTube episode of Fuego Bonito podcast. And for the first episode, I had to bring some special guests. First off, our recurring guest, Mark, aka the Man United Space King nowadays. Got the spaces going on after every game.
Thank you, man.
And then our first time guest, Ty, aka King of Martial FC, and
Thank
host of
you.
Trafford Tunnel as well. What you guys got? What you guys saying?
I'm grateful to be on. First of all, thank you.
Yeah.
Big up 15 obviously every single time, and obviously yourself, Mark, for obviously supporting our channel a lot. And just to say, to award me as a special guest, I'm thankful, man. Man, it's a special guest. I take that. So yeah, man. Now thank you, and yeah, man. I'm hoping for good things on your channel.
Yeah, man. Obviously,
Thank you.
it's good to progress from like the audio to the visuals now, isn't it? Like it feels a bit different. So yeah, it's really good.
All right, so today we're pretty much going to discuss the top four now that the winter window is over, so everyone's squad is set up. And then we might do a little past and present debate because yesterday the whole timeline was going crazy with the Neymar Dinho debates, and obviously you guys are a little older than me, so you're probably on the Ronaldinho side while I'm on the Neymar side. So we'll discuss that later in the channel, later on the show. Quick thing, we're not really gonna discuss the Mason Greenwood thing. I haven't posted on my podcast yet. I don't obviously what he did was wrong, and I don't really care to discuss. I just hope that he gets what he deserves and that the girl gets all the help that she needs. So that's pretty much it for that. So yeah, let's hop into it. So we'll start obviously with Man United since we all support the club. International break is about to end. Tomorrow we have our FA Cup game against Middlesbrough. The first thing is we do have our main player back, Paul Pogba. Ralph Ragnick today confirmed the presser that he will be featured in the game tomorrow, potentially starting. We'll see what happens with that. So I'll go to you, Ty, first. How excited are you by the return of Paul Pogba?
About time. This guy, I don't know what it is, because when he plays and he's here, you know what talent he has anyway. Left wing or central midfield, you know what he brings to the table. But I think something with Paul Pogba is that, when he's not there, you just realize how good he is. That is the bottom line of it. And I think when you look at Manchester United, obviously we started quite well to the season, you could say, in terms of the results. And he's at the forefront of that. And he's been out such a long time now. And you've seen Manchester United. We've been poor this season. Let's just be real about it, innit? We've been poor this season. I just feel like if there's any point in the season that I want Paul Pogba back, it's between February and May. Paul Pogba plays his best football for Manchester United when he's got stuff to fight for. There's, stuff to compete for. And he's coming back at the perfect time. We still could win the FA Cup, even though people might disagree, of course, but we're in it to win it. We're still in the Champions League. I believe we can beat Atletico. He wants to win the Champions League. And we're still fighting for top four. So it's not like he's coming back and it's like, there's nothing to play for. Paul Pogba is at his best when there's stuff to fight for. We saw it last year in January, when he helped fire us to the top of the table, the volley against Burnley. We all remember that. Eric Bailly's block against Aston Villa when Pogba played a key part in that game. So I'm excited, man. He gives us something in midfield that we don't have. And I'm just saying, fingers crossed, he can stay fit. Because if he stays fit, I know I'm going to get a better midfielder than the rest of the squad in Paul Pogba. So I think it's just keeping him fit. And let's rock, man. Pogba is back. It's like a new signing this season.
I'd love to hear. And how about you, Mark? What are your thoughts on Paul Pogba coming back?
I think everyone's like me, and everyone should just be glad because there's always this sort of myth that we're better off without him or we play better without him. And the truth is that we need him in it. As much as his antics may frustrate us and whatnot, we're a much better side with him than without him. So if he's available, he's got to play.
My question, though, is that where do you see him playing, Mike? Where do you want to see him play? Me and Mark had this debate the other. It's Mark and Mike. I just remember that's a Safa, I say. But in regards to obviously Pogba coming back, central midfield in a free or left wing in a front three, where do you want to see him play? By the way, because obviously me and Safa debated this already.
Yeah, I'll probably say the midfield. Obviously with all that's gone, he might play a little wing, but I just put him in the midfield. The only problem is, obviously, it would be him and Bruno, and then you have the biggest problem would be the six who plays there. If you play McTominay, we kind of saw that midfield against Villarreal first half in the home game in Champions League, and that midfield got overran like crazy. We've seen the Fred, Pogba, Bruno midfield. That's gotten overran before, but it worked in the game against Sevilla in the Europa League semifinal a couple of years ago. That was actually a good game, good performance by most everyone. So I think Ragnick would be able to get more of like a more disciplined version of like Bruno, Pogba, and then the six. So maybe it would work better than under Ole. I would hope so. So yeah. Otherwise, you could play him on the left to kind of like help with like Ronaldo, the creation off the left, because Rashford has to get back in form. Even though he's 2-2, he's still not the Marcus Rashford that we've seen in previous years. So yeah, I would start him off in midfield, but if we see like continuously our wing play continues to be bad, I would stick him up there.
Yeah. Okay. 15. Have you changed your mind on that, by the way, or you wanting him central midfield or left? I can't remember what you said now. That's what I'm asking you again. Actually,
I've always said that there's two debates. It's where do we think he's best for the team, and where does he want to play? For me, both answers are centrally, but I think for him, he would probably want to play as an 8 rather than a 6. And if we're sticking with a 4-3-3, I would like to see him in the 8 as well. But yeah, I think him and Bruno, I think Mike said before, we've tried midfield before, but I think the only difference is that we've been undercoached in like previously. So I feel like with Ralph, we could probably get away with Bruno and Pogba centrally as an 8, and maybe like a McTominay or Fred as 6, just because he's a much better coach. So I definitely feel like Ralph could get it working.
Yeah. Moving on to another player that got confirmed will be in the squad tomorrow, Hannibal Mejri, the new star boy Man United. Mark is like my Man United Academy like encyclopedia. I get most of my academy stuff from him and like the hype for the players. I called him my broker for the Alvaro Fernandez stock. That's how I bought him. But yeah, so Hannibal is confirmed. He just came back from AFCON. There was reports that he turned down a vacation in order to come back and place in the team, which is what you want to hear from a young player. That shows the commitment that he wants to succeed. So what are you guys' thoughts on him being part of the first team squad for the rest of the season? Ty,
it's only right. It's only right. Sarfo speaks.
Oh, sorry, yeah, you go.
I can't lie to you. Like, I'm very happy because I had stocks in him from day dot. I remember watching like his debut against like Derby under 18s or some rubbish like that. Like I was tuning from day. I'm happy because I feel like with youngsters, if they don't see like a pathway, they might sort of get disillusioned. And I feel like he's within touch and distance, so it's good for him to sort of like dangle the carrot in front of him because he knows like if he plays well, there's an opportunity there for him. I saw something like Ralph wanted him previously when he was at Leipzig.
Yeah.
That could be like a little, you know, what I mean, a little connection there. So, but it'll be good to see because I feel like Mejbri, he's good enough. He's very good, and I'd like to see him play. It's just a shame that it's come at the expense of like Van der Beek, who wasn't getting any minutes. But I'd like to see him get some minutes for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't know the Ragnick thing, but when you look at it now, in terms of identifying talent, that's what Ragnick has done at Leipzig, and that would have been a move that I can imagine happening because it wouldn't have cost a lot because no one has seen Mejbri. But I'm excited. You know, when I saw him play against Wolves last game of the season, obviously in an actual physical like, adult game, I thought him and Diallo were very comfortable. And what I liked about him is that I think the way they think and use the ball is very mature beyond their age. Like they know where to, they know what spaces to operate in. They know which way to turn up when someone's pressuring them. They're very good in tight areas. And I just feel like Mejbri gives us something different to our midfielders. Fred and McTominay, we know they have energy. We know they have legs. But in terms of like guile and being able to just get out them crafty moments, I feel like Mejbri and Pogba are probably two in that unique category. I don't even think Fernandez is like that, to be honest. Fernandez is more get the ball and just like go with it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Mejbri can pick up the ball, take it past a few man, all be in a tight corner and get out. And I'm excited to see what he can bring. He just got that North African flair with him. The only downside, and it's not a downside on Mejbri's fault, it's just that like if I could change him as a player, I wish he was like a deep line player. Just because what you said, Mike, in terms of what we need, I wish Medjbury was, because his brain's there. I just wish he was that type of player. But I feel like if he's going to play for us, it's got to be in one of the number 8 positions, because I feel like that's where you can get the best out of his game. And he's not going to start games there because obviously there's Pogba, there is Bruno, there is McTominay. He's probably going to lose the more box-to-box man. But I think it's just exciting to get him some game time. And hopefully the more we progress in the FA Cup and if we get a couple kind draws, he can just get some more minutes, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's not about age. Like, if you're ready and you're good enough at playing, then you should be in the squad.
Yeah, I completely agree. By the way, big up Chris Seth. Hello from Greece, fellow Greek. Love to see it.
Just touching on what Ty said.
Yeah.
What do you call it? I think parts of this season, before he was sort of moved to first team training, he was playing as a deep line midfielder, so it could be part of his development. I don't know if like looking forward if that's like his position moving forward, but
yeah,
I know like Neil Ryan and Neil Woods was talking about sort of like playing him all over the gaff just to make him a more complete midfielder. So it'll be interesting to see how he's used tomorrow, if he's used.
Yeah. I think the one player that I've heard a lot of comparisons with him, which is very high praise, and if he can have a career like this guy, we'd have one of the best midfielders of all time, which is Luka Modric. And he's a midfielder that could pretty much play anywhere. He could do the deep line playmaker role. He could do the 8. He could do the 10. So it looks like we have a midfielder that could do all the type of stuff.
Yeah,
like
I hear that
Mark
comparison,
said,
actually. Even the way you dribble the ball, I can visualize that, actually.
See, when Modric first come to England, he was playing like left wing as well. So that's where Medjbury has been sort of like being used for, like his was it Tunisia?
Yeah, covering wing for Tunisia.
Definitely. Like,
do you not think like over the next say 5 to 7 years he is going to be one of them players that don't just come on the scene and play like now and maybe a bit of next season? Do you actually feel like in 5 years' time we're going to be looking at Medjbury and having this conversation all together and being like he's one of the regular starters at Manchester United, one of the key players?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
I think they spent like.
Second.
I think they spent like 10 mil on him as like a 17-year-old, which is a lot of money for a player that young. So obviously the scouts saw something special in him. So hopefully, I've called him the savior many times. He's like the one midfielder that we have any hope for, because we've been crying out for midfielder for like the last decade. So hopefully he's the one that finally breaks the curse in a way. So yeah. Hopefully he's here in like 7 years.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think, 15? So I knew you were going to say something.
No, I think he's definitely good enough, and I feel like the coaches are very high on him. I think he said something about tweaking his game. If there's one thing he does need to tweak on his game is his temperament, and maybe that will change as he gets into the first team. But
has he got a bit of like Dele Alli biting him in that?
He's been
he's a hothead.
Man, do you know? I don't even mind that. We need a bit of something, man.
No, but it's just like I think he's been. When he gets sent off here, it's silly. Like one time he got sent off for, I don't know, I think for dissent. I think he got sent off for dissent. I think the first yellow was, a late challenge, and the second was dissent. I don't mind it, but it's just like it's too many times. It's costing.
Yeah. It's about channeling it correctly, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's been sent off like 3 times this season or something like that, like twice.
Okay. Because I think, like, even for example, like the game, obviously we're not talking about it now, but the Brentford away game, that first half, the midfield was just destroyed. Like, Brentford are out battling us, and if you've got someone like Medjbury that can channel it correctly, and even like the English term, obviously, Mike, I know you're not from England, of course, but it's like on Sunday League, hit him with the first tackle, like let him know you're there. Like if Medjbury couldn't do that, but win the ball and like sort of set that tempo, then I don't mind, because Fred and McTominay didn't do that game, and if he can come in and add that sort of bite and channel it correctly, like you man are saying, then I'm all for that, man. So I like it.
He's quite tenacious, but I think the reason why he gets sort of riled up is because of lack of protection in the 23 league, because he takes so many hits, and the referees don't do anything about it, and he just thinks, fuck it, I might as well just do it myself. So
yeah,
he might get more protection in a men's game, I reckon.
Okay.
Yeah, I think from the couple under 23 games I watched, like the refs are horrible. So hopefully, like if he gets the foul calls in the men, like in the senior team, then hopefully his temperament will kind of like calm down a little bit. So yeah, hopefully he gets some minutes tomorrow. I think he'll probably get a cameo, especially if we end up going up like 2 to 3 goals, which we should against Middlesbrough. Then we can see him get his minutes. Anything else from United's point? Well, obviously we didn't bring anyone in. And yesterday, I think was it yesterday that Romano said that the United didn't buy anyone because they plan on hiring the new manager in the summer and they'll let him have control of his signings. For me, it makes sense. I mean, it's probably a good business decision in a way. I know some people on Twitter said other big clubs really wouldn't do that. They buy players that they know they fit their philosophy. But the thing with United is we don't have a philosophy, and I think United are expecting the next manager with Ralph to kind of build the philosophy finally at Man United after like 11 years after Fergie left. So obviously I think the three names that we turned down were Boubacar Kamara from Marseille, who I did write an article on for the United Journal. Who else was it? Julian Alvarez, who I did say on Twitter yesterday. I think if the Mason Greenwood situation happened earlier in the month, I think United might have pulled the trigger on that deal because obviously we lack the forward depth now. And I think the other name was I forgot.
Zakaria?
Oh yeah, Zakaria. Thank God that didn't happen. I know all of us are probably happy about that one. But no offense to the player, just not my kind of player. So what do you guys feel about United kind of not signing anyone this window?
We probably won't want to admit it, but it's probably like the right move to do because I think if you look at our squad here, it's just a mismatch of players of different managers, and that's why there's a huge imbalance because we've got two number 8s, two number 6s, or two. We've got like 3 number 8s, no number 6s, 10 strikers, 2 centre backs, 1 right back, 1 left back. Do you know what I mean? It's just a mismatch of everything, and you can't build a team like that. So there's like no real foundation. So it's probably like the smartest thing to do, even though like we are crying out for a DM. And I haven't seen much of Kamara, but he can't be any worse than Fred or McTominay. So I probably would have taken him, but I do understand why we didn't do it because say that Poch or Ten Hag comes in and they don't fancy him, all of a sudden you've got another situation where you have to offload some more players to bring in what the manager does, what the manager does want, or who he wants, I should say. So for me, it is the right decision, but I would have liked to see Kamara in.
Do you know what? I'm going to echo what 15 said. I thought, because when he started it and you said, I'm happy they didn't make any signings, I agreed with it, but then I was going to say about Kamara. And I was just going to say, like, with Zakaria, I'm like you guys, I didn't want him in the first place, so we don't need to touch much on him. I think we know what we need, and he's not that guy. With Julian Alvarez, I see him, like, when I watch him, all the highlights you've seen of him and so forth, he reminds me a bit of Carlos Tevez, the way his body frame is, the way he finishes with the side foot. And I do think at Manchester City, he will be a good fit because Pep is a master of like nurturing players into the Premier League. You'd never see a Manchester City player apart from Ruben Dias come in and hit the ground running. So I feel like they will give him that time to bed in. With Manchester United, like Mark said, like in terms of the number 6s, I feel like I would have gone for Kamara. And the reason is that with obviously Zakaria worth 5 million or whatever it was, I feel like even at 10 million, if Kamara was that guy for 10 million or 12 million, how much you wanted, I feel like it is a solid investment because when you look at Marseille, he's played in the deep role. He can pass the ball okay, better than you could say the midfielders we've got there now. He can also play centre-back and he can play in the back three. So I feel like with him signing for that low cost and being a good age at 24, he does give you sort of multiple options when a new manager does come in. So when you look at certain games, if we do play a pivot or we do play a lone midfielder, there might be certain games where Kamara will be needed because he's a bit more of a, ball-winning midfielder because he actually started off as a centre-back, whereas he could get the Ruben Neves that we like, for example, and be more of a controlling one. So you never know. They could have even worked in a pivot at times. So I just feel like Kamara would have given us multiple options. And for the price, I think it would have been a no-brainer for me.
He's even 22. He's not even 24. He's 22.
22.
He's like the same age as Declan Rice. Same profile as Declan Rice as well. Declan Rice started off as a centre-back, innit? And obviously progressing to midfield. So it's similar profiles, I guess. It's just whether we wanted to pull a trigger on him. But I get it. I do get it because if Poch comes in or whoever comes in, you don't fancy him, all of a sudden you have to make room for who the manager wants. And we've seen it already, like Fred and McTominay aren't good enough. So it's like it's a lot of hassle for something that may not have happened, if that makes sense. So it's completely avoidable. It didn't need to happen. So it
Do
doesn't
you
make
think,
sense.
15, that like even with Kamara coming in though, even in the summer with a new manager, it could have been the perfect time to let Matic go? Like I get that he's on a contract
You
for
know what?
another
Yeah,
2 years,
no, I
but
completely
I
forgot
feel like
about him.
Matic could be moved on, man. Now,
Yeah, I completely forgot about him. Like that's true, man. I completely forgot about him. Like, the fact that I forgot about him just shows how much we're
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mourinho at Roma could snap him up for 2 years. He still could be solid in the Italian league.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I feel like he could go.
Even like with like the Kamara thing, yeah. Like say we do bring him. Let's say we brought him in. You get rid of Phil Jones, potentially Eric Bailly. Let's say you get rid of Eric Bailly as well. You still got like a decent replacement, not necessarily like for like, but he covers both options. Does that make sense? So he covers the centre back and he covers central midfield. So I guess it could work, but I do get the fact that like you want to give all the power to new manager.
To the new manager, Ten Hag or Poch probably.
Yeah.
Or Wayne Rooney.
Yeah,
No,
I
joking. No, joking.
That man
keep
said
him
that
far
yesterday,
away.
you know.
Keep him far away. Keep him far away. I don't want to see Wazza at the club, because then if he ever struggles, I can't say Rooney out, because then that's one of my idols.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
Rooney out, you know, trending and that? Oh, but it's 8 years time.
Nah.
Yeah,
Unless he
man.
if he wins something like at a different club first, then maybe like. But we'll see. Maybe like at
Mike, just
Everton if he ever
quickly,
gets
because I
that
know
job.
you're probably going to move on as well, yeah. Because I know you said about United, but if you had to pick out a Ten Hag or Poch, choose yours.
Ten Hag
I
or
saw you
Poch?
respond to my tweet.
Yeah, I said Ten Hag. I mean, okay, so with Poch, like, I think the one thing I think the biggest reason why I don't want Poch is because I know Ten Hag's available and I really want Ten Hag. I just feel like he's like that one manager that we could finally get that will finally change our fortunes around. Like, because I think he worked with Pep at Bayern, I think like 2014
he did.
that time.
Yeah.
So he's kind of studied the Bayern philosophy, which, as we all know, is the most efficient philosophy in Europe right now. Every year, no matter who the manager is, they score a bunch of goals. It's an efficient system. And then obviously he's been the manager at Ajax, which is another one of the best philosophies in Europe, the possession style. So I feel like he's the mix of both blends. So I feel like that's why it's perfect. And with Poch, I know the PSG job is like the hardest job in football because you have all those superstars and you have to like rein them all in. So it's obviously a hard job. Obviously, we saw with Tuchel, like he struggled there and then he won a Champions League 6 months after he left. So obviously with Poch that could happen. But I just don't feel like Poch. I feel like the time has passed for him. Like I think everyone said it like in previous like shows before that. In 2018, around the time after Jose got sacked, that was the perfect time for Poch when we were like in a full rebuild. I don't think United will go with the full rebuild this time. So I would say Ten Hag, and then with him and Ragnick, and then maybe potentially like a Van der Sar, like in a couple 2 to 3 years comes in as well, kind of just make United kind of more of a football club again and not just a business and corporation or something. So yeah, Ten Hag for me.
So, do you know what? Like so many people, think Poch is like done. Like he done well at Southampton, done well at Spurs, and obviously to a point where I think the second from last season won 17 home games due to, and obviously it went a bit pear-shaped in his last season, but he ran his cycle there, a bit like Brendan Rodgers now at Leicester. Got to PSG, and I knew in my heart that like it weren't the right move. I knew that he was going to fail there. I just don't think he has the players that are going to suit his system. And I feel like in a Pochettino sense, he's gone there as a cheap shot. Do you know what? No one says I won a trophy, so I'm going to go there and collect a couple of trophies and then move on to where I really want to be. But why does everyone think he's like done? Do you know what I mean? Like if he doesn't go to Man United, I do think he lands another top job. Whether it's this season or not, I do still think he gets a top job.
I think what it is just that fact that the way things have happened for him at PSG, where like so for instance, he lost the French Cup thingy, he's lost this, he's lost that. It seems to be like a reoccurring theme where he just doesn't seem to be able to get over the line. Wherever, like, regardless of where he is, or whether it be Spurs, PSG, wherever, it just seems to be a recurring theme where he just doesn't get over the line. And it's similar to like Rodgers. I think Rodgers is probably worse on a bigger scale because we've seen it with Rodgers many times. But with Poch, I think he's been in positions where he should be able to get over the line, and he hasn't.
I think for me, I think his aura isn't there. Like when I think of a manager at Man United, I want the aura, and I just don't feel like he has that aura about him. I think Ten Hag has it. Like when you hear him speak, like the way he speaks, like he wants to win and everything. With Poch, like he has a quote where he said, "Egos are trophies are for egos," similar to Ole, which I know has thrown a lot of fans off, like the LUHG Twitter. They hate him because of that, with all like their trophy hype and everything. Which it's not the main reason I hate him. I don't know. I just like Poch has never been meant for like the big clubs. I don't know. I think like now, back then maybe, but just now, I don't know.
Do you
I'm
feel
just sold
like
on that.
he's that type like would suit like an Inter Milan when Inzaghi leaves in a couple of years or something in a few years? He suits that sort of like not the A star teams, but the teams that are like that. Do you know what I mean? The Inter Milan, the
Yeah,
Tottenham,
So like
even a
yeah.
Sevilla, even a
like
Sevilla.
Europe second tier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is with him.
Okay, because
Obviously, I think
I think the issue is for me, right, is that I'll take Poch this summer because I'm happy to because I'm willing to give him a chance. I do believe that he would want to succeed. I believe that he's been destined for the job for a long time. I'd like to give him a fair crack. If I had my choice, I see Chris there in the comments says Luis Enrique. He's my first choice, but I know that he's not going to come until after the World Cup, so I don't want to be sitting there again in January waiting for another manager to arrive. And Ten Hag, obviously he could be available in the summer. He is my second choice, I'd say. I'd go Enrique, Ten Hag, Pochettino. But if I had to wait till 2023 with Ten Hag, I'll take Poch now, which is what I discussed on my show yesterday. But I feel like as Man United fans, yeah, if Ten Hag comes in, I feel like if we had 100 people in this video right now and Ten Hag was announced right now, 95 of them 100 would be happy with Ten Hag coming in. Maybe people could say even 100. Like I just feel like with the way Ten Hag is, but you got still a few doubters. If Pochettino comes in, it's already like a 60-40 split. So before he's kicked a ball and managed and walked out in the dugout, he's already under pressure. It's not about like, oh, even if Ten Hag don't win his first 3 games, we don't worry, we'll trust the process. With Pochettino, oh, have Man United hired the wrong manager? And I feel like I don't know as fans and as the board if we can afford to get a Pochettino where already like the bike's on stabilizers because people are unsure.
I think
yeah.
that there was a period where like there was talk about like Ole losing his job, blah blah blah. Obviously it didn't happen. When that Poch was going on like Monday Night Football and that period. I reckon if we had hired him then, I reckon United fans would have been happy with it. But I think now what it is, it's a lot of fans feel like we've like the boat's sailed. So I feel like that's all it is really. I don't feel like they feel like he's a bad manager, just maybe a better option and possibly the boat sailed.
Yeah. I think for me also what scares me is that I know if Ten Hag doesn't come to United, he's going Man City, and that just scares me because like if you put him in that structure, he's gonna cook with that team because they've already played the Pep style, which is similar to Ajax. So you just throw Ten Hag in there with all like the up and coming youngsters at City, and then you have the proven players already. So I think that's a match made in heaven. So that's what scares me as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Just so you know, people as well, Cameroon and Egypt just kicked off. So if there's any goals, we can update on the stream as well. Yeah. Love that. I'm hoping, do you know what? With this situation, I think the next dilemma for me is just whether we have it sorted out in like April, May, or we're gonna wait until the summer. Like, I believe that if Poch is going to be the manager, if PSG get knocked out of the Champions League by Madrid, for example, I feel like they'll speed cycle the move because I feel like it'll be inevitable that he's leaving. If PSG gets like the final of the Champions League, I think they'll hold on until the end because they don't want to disrupt the season. So I feel like between now and the Champions League final, Poch and Ten Hag's futures will kind of be decided after their runs in the Champions League, I feel, because I don't think they want to have any distractions. So if Real Madrid do knock out PSG, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Poch straight after that.
I think you see Ten Hag, I don't think he minds staying. I feel like he's like if he goes, he goes. If the opportunity doesn't come, he doesn't mind staying. With Poch, I think mentally he's checked out. I think he's just looking for a way out. I think if someone gave him like a escape rope or something, he will take it, and I think that's the difference. And I think that's probably what will appeal to United easier.
Yeah.
what will appeal to Man United more is how easy it is to get one or the other out of the job. So if like Poch walks away from PSG and United don't have to pay, let's say 20 mil for Poch, whereas Ten Hag they have to go through all this whole compensation progress, all the compensation process, I should say, and all that stuff. I reckon United would turn to Poch.
Yeah, his contract runs out in 2023. Ten Hag as well, and obviously Pep's does as well. I'm not saying Pep's definitely going to leave, but you could just imagine that being a gradual cycle. But yeah, let's see, man. Let's
see.
One
end of the season.
Poch's one is, I think it's Christmas. I thought.
Yeah, because I think he signed like a mini contract.
Yeah, he signed like
18 months.
He signed a mid-weird season for 18. I think it might be December this year, like end of December. Yeah, but obviously Ten Hag is the same as Pep's. That's next summer.
Yeah, I'm just praying that Van der Sar's in Ten Hag's ear, just like whispering, "Go Man United, go Man United, go Man United."
After the Van der Beek situation.
Yeah, I was about to say.
That's very true.
I enjoyed my time as a player, but the board now, nah.
Yeah, if anything, he's probably saying stay away from Man United.
I saw. Do you see him comment on Van der Beek's Instagram picture?
No, what did he say?
He put, better luck now on the other side of the northwest of England or something.
Oh yeah, I got it.
It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, I think also. I think it will be Poch because I think the fact that you said that he will be like free in the summer because United won't have to pay for him because he'll lose his job. I think that will appeal to Man United because less paperwork for them to sign and all the channels and stuff. So we'll see. I think one name I threw out there yesterday or a couple of days ago, I put the Sporting manager Ruben Amorim because Sporting have done like so well the last couple of years. Obviously, it's probably a little too.
You're saying it was so much like if you wrote that down, yeah. You have the dashes on top of the
the little asterisk thing. Yeah.
So much like panache and so much verve. What's his name?
Man said it like he turned Portuguese for a sec.
Ruben Amorim. It's the Greek in me. Like I have like the European stuff, so I got like the accents and stuff. Ruben Amorim.
I love that.
Yeah, I heard he's a good
obviously.
I don't know much.
I'm gonna watch them against City. Actually, they got City in the Champions League. That'll be a good test to see what they're like.
Yeah, obviously they're gonna lose, obviously, but
if Sporting won the league this year, like his second title was his first.
Second,
was his first title last year. Yeah.
Okay, so we back to back.
I think they went unbeaten all year.
They did, but I think Porto are unbeaten this year. They haven't lost since like December of last year, so like they're like 7 points ahead in the Portuguese league. So I don't think he'll win it this year.
Diaz is gone.
Yeah, I'm not really a conspiracy, but Salah. Oh, sorry. I'm not a conspiracist, but some would say Sporting without Bruno Fernandes have gone on to win major titles, and some people think the way he plays isn't conducive to winning titles, and they're going to use the fact that Sporting are about to go back to back without Bruno Fernandes as the battering ram and sort of like their reason as to why we shouldn't move forward with Bruno Fernandes. What do you lot say?
I kind of agree with that. I can't lie. It's a big discussion to have, and it's a controversial one, but
yeah, it's a hard one. I know what you mean. It's like, is Bruno Fernandes the style of footballer he is sustainable enough to win you a league? Is it sustainable enough to win you games, but it doesn't mean always starting games. But that's for the new manager to try and figure out, really, if I'm honest.
I think Poch would actually like him too, because I think he was linked to Spurs the summer before Poch left. I think summer 2019. I think it was between United and Spurs for Bruno.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
There's been a few players that Poch likes that end up at United. Like he wanted Martial when he's at Spurs.
Yep.
Bruno.
I think he wanted Sancho as well.
Probably did want Sancho. Bruno.
Donny.
He likes exactly. Everyone you're naming technical players that like ball to feet.
Yeah. Van der Beek, I think he might have been linked with Spurs. So like, I think if Poch does come in, there's gonna be some players that get like reprievals. So it's not all doom and gloom for the players that have gone out on loan.
Mm.
Yeah. Speaking of Posh, a good transition into Spurs. So one of our main top four rivals. I said they're my biggest threat to the top four in my opinion. Because they have the best manager out of like teams fighting for top four, Antonio Conte. So I think they made two signings in the winter. They signed Dejan Kulusevski from Juventus and from Juventus as well, Rodrigo Bentancur. I think Kulusevski was a 40 mil with the obligation to buy based on UCL and appearances. And I think Bentancur was like 20 mil. So I'll start with this one. I kind of rate the Bentancur move. I know that's very controversial because a lot of people on Twitter have called him Mintancur and stuff like that. But most people don't watch other leagues, in my opinion, on Twitter. So that's another discussion for another day.
Yeah.
But so I've seen I think he has been bad like the last couple of years, but I think like 2018, 2017, he was really good under Allegri. And Spurs have been crying out for midfield help. Obviously, they only have like one other midfielder that I know now. It's Harry Winks. Højbjerg, I don't rate that much. So I think Bentancur is a good player to have. And I think Kulusevski, I think he could. I've seen him play both at striker and right wing, so he kind of could play both. So I think with Conte obviously plays the 3-back. So I think with Kulusevski, he'll try the 3-4-3 with Son on the left, Kane up top, and then Kulusevski on the right. And then the two midfielders would probably be Harry Winks and Bentancur because I think he rates Harry Winks very highly, as it appears. So yeah, what's your level of fear for like Spurs? Obviously, they didn't sign Adama Traore, which was big, but they kept Emerson.
I'm glad that he's gone to Barcelona, but I'll be honest with you, I think Bentancur's a solid signing when you look at their midfield and the way he plays, like you said. But I'm actually really intrigued to see Kulusevski. The mad thing is he looks about 30. He's 21. Kulusevski is 21 years of age, and I think he was at Parma or Udinese or someone like that before, and he was really good in Serie A. And he went to Juve, and you saw sort of up and down moments. But you've seen over the years with Juventus as a team, they've had players that have been up and down anyway. But I feel like the way he plays, he's not the quickest, but he's quick enough. He's quite dynamic. He's direct. He can shoot. I feel like he's come into the Premier League with a point to prove. And I think actually stylistically, the Premier League will actually probably suit his game a bit more, just because I don't want to say the word more chaos or frantic, but it is a bit more energetic and back to front. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like Kane, Son, and him will have a good dynamic between them. And I think playing him sort of like you said, Mike, you don't play him out wide, and you don't play him with a strike, you sort of play him in between the lines. It's like a wide number 10. A bit like how Willian played at Chelsea and stuff like that. I think you can get something out of him. And when you've got Bergwijn and Lucas Moura competing for places, I think it's Son, Kane, and then probably Moura or Kulusevski, if I'm totally honest. And I think it's a good signing. I think, what is it, a loan with an obligation to buy? You can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And you look at what Ndombele, I think it's a very good
option
player.
Or obligation? Option
to buy.
Obligation.
Obligation, yeah.
Based on, I think it was based on appearances. It was like it's obligation if they make top 4 or he hits a certain number of appearances.
Okay. There you go.
One of those weird ones then.
Yeah, and I think when you look at Spurs in terms of obviously the formations they play, I feel like Ndombele going, I think, is a very good player, just didn't work at Spurs. And I think, Lo Celso went. If you ask me, out of them two going and the two you've brought in, what's better? It's the two they've brought in. So if anything, Spurs are strengthened. So yes, am I worried? I am. Yeah.
I think, do you know what it feels like, yeah? It feels like Spurs went to the transfer window, yeah, and had a plan or had an idea of who they wanted to get, and they couldn't get their first choices. So they've gone down the list and thought, we're going to settle with you and you. You may not necessarily feel like you're the best, but we're just going to give you to the manager and see what the manager can do with you. And I think for that, yeah, just because of that reason, I'm not too worried, if that makes sense. I feel like if Conte got like his first choice signings, so if it was Diaz and Adama, then I would be worried. Is it Diaz?
That's
is it
peak.
Diaz?
Yeah, it was Diaz.
Yeah. If they got him and Adama, I would be worried. But I feel like because they've sort of like settled on sort of players that are decent but may not necessarily be the manager's choice, like I don't know how much they're going to improve.
Yeah. I think the only come back to that is obviously I think with Ndombele and Lo Celso, because they weren't playing, they weren't required. But with Bentancur and Kulusevski, I think the difference for me is that they are going to be playing, so that's why they make Spurs better. Do you get what I'm saying? If I saw Ndombele and Lo Celso playing every week, and I was like, do you know what, they're not cutting it, then, do you know what I mean? I'll be like, okay, let's see. But because they're not playing at all, I'm sorry, they were cutting it, I'll be like, but because they're not playing at all, I feel like it's two players that are actually brought in that are going to play, I think, and that's why they'll improve.
Yeah. To answer Chris's question, I don't think Greenwood will ever play for Man United again. I'm pretty sure you guys agree as well with that.
I'm not speaking on Greenwood. I'm just not going to speak on it.
Yeah. We all know what's happened there. Just let the courts do their thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with Bentancur, I think he'll have a harder time adjusting to the Premier League because he's the type of midfielder that likes space to work with, and the Serie A is a much slower pace in the Premier League. So he's kind of like a Rodri where he's like that lone. He's like that sitting six where he likes to do the side to side thing.
Yeah. Quite a good comparison.
And that will take time to adjust. So I think, like Ty said, I think Kulusevski will probably suit to the Prem better, but Bentancur might take a little while to adjust.
Yeah.
Moving on to our other top four rivals, Arsenal. They had a similar window to us, which was loan players out or / terminate contracts and not sign anyone. Well, they did sign like two players from MLS, which was Stan Kroenke kind of funding, embezzling money to the club.
Money laundering right there, man.
He probably won't even touch Emirates pitch.
Do you know what it's like? Yeah, I don't know what it's like in America. You see it like in the UK, you've got like the Stouffer shops or the vape shop, and it's always empty, yeah. But somehow it's just never closed down. It's like one of those things, like it's always open. There's no customers in there, but it's just the lights on and everything. Business is running as per usual. That's what it's like. One of them fugazi business things.
Yeah.
Oh!
Someone score?
Cameroon hit the bar.
So yeah, I think that goalkeeper that they signed, I saw him play because he's like the backer for the Team USA. He can't kick a ball. Like I saw him try to kick like against Canada, and his kicking was so bad, like De Gea-esque, that he couldn't kick it past the halfway line. So then Canada started a counter and they scored right away.
How does he?
He's horrible. I think his name is Matt Turner.
Yeah, how does he?
I think he's like 21, 22. He's a youngin.
Yeah, I think with keepers, yeah, they're right. Like when anything like 21, 22, they're babies, man. They're toddlers. You're gonna keep them keepers. In regards to Arsenal, they don't have a goal scorer now. That's a big issue. They don't have a goal scorer. They're going to be very reliant on Lacazette and my twin Nketiah. So I don't know how it's going to work out for them unless sort of they're able to spread the goals around. But I personally can't see it. So I do feel they've probably weakened their hand in terms of strength. And they should have got a striker 100% because this is probably their best chance to get top four in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Oh my.
What's it called? Yeah, I think they also loaned out Balogun, like their youth striker. I think they signed to like
He's going out on loan as well.
Yeah, I think he might play against us tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he might. He hasn't started any games for them actually. He's coming off the bench.
Yeah,
they play back. So. They play back five as well. So I'm just gonna chuck it out there. Don't be surprised if we're like 0-0 at half time, man.
It's gonna be so boring. And we haven't played like in 2 weeks either, so we're probably rusty. Like I don't know. Yeah, but yeah. What do you guys thoughts on the Aubameyang situation? Because I think today he came on and said he kind of hinted that him or like it was kind of Arteta's fault that he left the club and that they had problems between the two. So Ty, what's your thoughts on the Aubameyang?
Yeah, I think. I'll be honest with you, like Arteta, I can see what he's doing at Arsenal. A lot of the youth players like him, but I feel like he's also fell out with quite a few players. And I don't know what it is, right? But when he was at Man City, obviously he wasn't the manager; he was the interlink between sort of player and manager. And then now he's coming to obviously Arsenal, and he is the manager. He's got to now manage them relationships himself. Whereas Pep was the big dog; he was kind of like the liaison officer, if you want to make sense. But now he's the top dog. I just feel like it's showing a different side to Arteta, and I don't know if his man management is the best. I know Aubameyang's had a bit of trouble with other managers in the past and so forth, but I think at the end of the day, the guy just wants to play football. He probably wants to just enjoy football, and I think he's so experienced and captain of the club that he's probably got to the point where he's like, do you know what, you're disrespecting me too so much that I'm just done here. And with the Aubameyang situation in terms of him as a player at Arsenal, I think he's been a good signing. I think he's been there in times where they're a bit down. I think he's scored a lot of goals for them. He's helped them win the FA Cup. And I think he's been one of their better signings over definitely the last decade. So I still think, he's a good footballer. He's naturally declined. He's hitting 32, 33 or whatever he is. He's lost the pace a bit, which is understandable. But I still think like going to Barcelona for him, he's still going to score goals. He's still going to help the team. So with Arsenal replacing him, I think they're definitely down more than they are up. I like Lacazette. Like, don't get it wrong. I like Lacazette's link-up play, the back-to-front stuff, and he just don't score enough goals for me. And I feel like there's certain games where Burnley at home, for example, they drew. They could have done with someone like Aubameyang who would have broke the deadlock and maybe they won 1-0. So with this situation there, I don't think it's all Aubameyang. I do think, Mikel Arteta has his ways and he's kind of stuck in his ways. And I think it'll be interesting now Aubameyang's gone to see how Arteta's man management over the next 2 years when he gets some signings and other players develop goes, because that's one area I think he needs to improve on. And I think now with Aubameyang going to Barcelona and then putting clauses in his contract for disciplinary, Xavi's already strict anyway. It's his last chance to really, enjoy the last bit of his career. So go there, work hard and score goals. But yeah, I think overall he's been a good signing and I wish him all the best.
We've seen it with, I think, Ozil. I think we saw it with Leno. I think we've seen it with Willian, maybe. So he does have a thing where he feels like sort of like a power trip.
Yeah.
Where he feels like he needs to stamp his authority. So I don't know. It could come back to bite them in the arse, because I feel like you could have used Aubameyang for the rest of the season and then sort of like let him go at the end of the season. It would have made no difference really. What difference would it have made if you just kept him, used him, and then sort of like moved him on at the end of the season? Like, say you got Champions League as well, it would have been so much easier. It would have made more sense to do that. But I guess he's what's the saying? Cutting off your nose to spite your face. Is that the saying? It's something along those lines.
Yeah, it's like cut off your nose. Yeah. I know what the saying is. Someone said it worked to me this week. So like, use it as an example.
It's one of those ones, isn't it? Where, but I'm not too concerned about Arsenal, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat. I think their main goal scorer now is Martinelli, probably cutting inside off the left and maybe banging in a couple goals. So we'll see. Their only benefit is they only do have football once a week. Same with Spurs, since they're knocked out of every competition. Spurs have FA Cup still, but yeah, that's the one benefit. While we still have a Champions League, and you never know what we could do. You never know what we could do in Champions League. Never know. I'm on the conspiracy with Champions League right now. I have a feeling that we're gonna do something in it.
Trust me, Mike. I've been saying it for time. You see me, I get cooked, man. I've been saying it since August. Just the way the cookie crumbles is not always the way people expect it, man.
That and Ronaldo, while he's maybe struggling in Premier League, he sees them Champions League lights and he turns into something else.
It's two legs as well. We could just do anything randomly over 2 legs. I think the only team I do fear is Man City over 2 legs. But I think obviously Liverpool are better than us. I'm not saying they're not. Bayern Munich are better than us. But I don't go into them games and I'm actually in fear. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I think Man City, the only ones I really do fear over 2 legs. Probably Liverpool, I'll be honest with you. They are very good. They score a lot of goals. But yeah, like, bring it on. It's kind of a free hit, but it's not, because obviously it's Manchester United. You want to realistically go far, but because no one thinks we will, I'm kind of just saying, right, come on, let's take on this Atletico game. I've applied for tickets. Hopefully I get them. And let's just roll with the punches, because we saw Tuchel come in last year and he showed that you can win it if you have the right sort of strategy.
Yeah, I think also like when our games in March are really hard, and I think if we're still in UCL by then, like we will be because the games are early. I think the games in March in the Premier League will kind of show us how we could do in UCL, because we're going to play the tough games, and I have an ink of a feeling that Ragnick will, like, under Ragnick, it's kind of going to be like LVG vibes, where we play good against the big teams, because I think what Ragnick like emphasizes off the ball work, and against the big teams you have to be really good off the ball. So I think that United might actually do better that way, because we won't be on the
Yeah.
ball that much, and our issues are actually when we're on the ball because we suck with it. But we're off the ball, it helps us feed off our counterattacking. So you never know. But I get cooked too. Don't worry about it. My friends think that we're gonna get knocked out by Atletico, but whatever. It is what it is.
Haven't really been good, really. That
No, their
last
form is garbage.
they haven't really been good. But it'll just be like our luck for us to be shit and then them turn up. I think what it is, yeah, I always say this about United. I'm not scared of any other teams. I'm scared of what we do to ourselves. We are the type to just shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. We also suck in Europe against Spanish teams. That's the one thing that we're really bad against. So
that's why I'm excited to play Atletico, because we haven't played them before. So this is just like a clean slate. Like, it's not Villarreal, thank God.
It's not Villarreal or Sevilla. Those two teams always like
do good against us. Get teams that are like proper defensive, innit? Like when we face like these defensive sides, and all of a sudden they'll just find some mad attacking flair from somewhere. Like, do you remember when we lost to Sevilla under Jose Mourinho? I think after they beat us,
that was one of the worst.
After they beat us, they didn't win a game for how long? Like, they just lost and drew every single game. So I think their only win was against us. I think Montella was the manager or something like that, and their league form just took a nosedive. They were awful after that.
Yeah. I remember that day. I had a senior thesis do that day, presentation, and I was watching the game before my presentation, and we lost. I was like, horrible times. But yeah, back to other Prem teams. We'll go down the table a little bit. Newcastle. They were obviously the big spenders in the transfer window with their new trillionaire owners, and they're desperate to stay up. They signed the one player that I wanted Man United to sign so bad in the winter that I was tweeting about him every day, hoping to speak it into existence, but I did not speak it into existence, unfortunately. Bruno Guimaraes, from Lyon, 40 million, which was a bargain. I'm sure the Glazers have 40 mil. That's Tom Brady's paycheck. They could have just taken it and just applied it to Bruno G, because I think Lyon would have also taken. 6. Yeah, and I think Lyon would have taken a loan with an obligation to buy, so you don't even need the money right now. You could pay the money in the summer when obviously the funds open up a little bit more. So he could have done it, but obviously he went to Newcastle. It's a big signing for them. I think it's the type of signing that could actually help keep them up, because they kind of already have the flair players up top with Gucci, St. Maximin. I think Callum Wilson's actually injured, but
yeah.
They also signed Chris Wood, obviously, who's like who guarantees you like almost 10 goals a season kind of player.
Yeah, he's weird because I looked at his record, yeah. I think he's been playing Premier League football for about 4 years or something like that. And each season, yeah, he scored double figures Premier League goals.
I think he's only one of 5 players that have done that.
That's crazy. I think this season, I don't know about last season. He might have got it last season, but this season probably be like the only season he hasn't sort of like hit double figures.
Yeah.
And we've still got 17 games to go. I'm gonna call it though. I think 25 million on him. I'm not sure that'll be the signing out of all of them that works out. But I think even with Bruno Guimaraes, I think what it gives them with Target and Trippier now, and obviously Dan Burn, who's coming from a Brighton team that played a back three. I think it gives Newcastle the opportunity to play a back three with Target and Trippier, and then you can have Guimaraes with someone else in midfield, and it allows Guimaraes to sort of enable himself to get a little bit more forward as well and stuff. Because I think I touched on it with Statman yesterday, but you got Dan Burn, who I think has played well this season, a good centre back, 7 out of 10 every week. But when you play in a Brighton team that's so good on the ball, and you're on the left side centre back of that, you kind of get them sort of insurances, like how Maguire looked for England. I think now Dan Burn potentially coming in playing alongside Lascelles in the back four, it's going to be a different test, because Brighton are very good on the ball. They play front foot. Now you're going to be playing for a team that's more back footed. You're going to be in a back four with not so much of a robust defence. I think that Dan Burn one's going to be intriguing to see how that works out. I think Target gives you 7 out of 10, solid, better upgrade on Dummett, and Trippier is an experienced player, so I like that. And then Bruno Guimaraes is a very good signing. Like I said, you said all the top 6 to take him, but Chris Wood, I'm a bit unsure, because obviously you've got Joe Linton and St. Maximin, who I like. Joe Linton's playing very well at the moment for them, so they just need to stay up. They have to with them signings made. But I think the plus for Newcastle, it does enable them now to go to a back three if they need to.
Do you know what as well, yeah? See those signings? Those signings, they're probably enough to get you out of relegation. but those signings are also signings that could play in the Championship if Newcastle go down. Like they're not going to cause a massive ruckus and be like, "Oh, I want to leave." There's sort of players that will just, for maybe like a season or two, might firm being in the Championship, knowing that they can get back into the Premier League. It's not like, let's just say, you sign, I don't know, like a Ruben Neves or someone high profile, and you go down, and all of a sudden you got to sell them the next window because they just want to play in the Premier League. When you look at sort of Target or Dan Burn or whoever, I'm not saying like they're Championship players, but I don't think they will mind playing in the Championship for just like a season. So like even Chris Wood, I don't think he would mind playing in the Championship just for a season. So I feel like Newcastle signings, they're probably good enough to keep them up, but they're also players that are sort of like a contingency plan. If they do go down, they will be able. They're calm with playing in the Championship for the season. Maybe Bruno.
I think the only one that
like Bruno might be the only one that doesn't really fancy it. But again, he doesn't have a relegation clause in his contract, so he does understand. He probably understands the assignment and what he's been brought in to do.
Wait, he doesn't have a relegation clause?
Nope, no relegation clause.
Wow, I thought he would put one in there because obviously I think he wants to play for Brazil in the World Cup. So if you're in the Championship, I don't know what your chances of Brazil selecting you are. That's a sticky one. I thought he would have put one in because most of the top six, I think Spurs, United, and Arsenal specifically would have taken him, and other clubs as well in other leagues. So wow.
Yeah. Even like Ruben Neves played in the Championship, so you never know because he come from Porto. He come from Porto straight to. He come from Porto straight to the Championship, and he was playing in the Champions League, and he was Porto's captain as well. So it can be done, I guess.
That's true. So question on that: do you guys think that Newcastle stay up or no?
I think they've got enough.
Yeah, I think they do enough. Yeah,
it's weird because I look at Burnley, and Burnley's signs on. Burnley just gone completely not Brexit. They've gone sort of exotic Burnley, innit? Like before, everything was sort of, we're not signing anyone outside of the UK. All of a sudden, they're going to France, they're going to Belgium or wherever they're going to, and they're signing some players. So I think they've got decent quality there. Roy Hodgson at Watford, I don't know what, he's about 100 years old, but somehow he's still managing to get the job done. So I don't know. I think Brentford might get sucked into it, you know. I think Brentford might get sucked into it.
Yeah. I hear why you say that. I just think they might have just accumulated enough.
Yeah, they done so well early in the season, so they might just have a bit of a cushion, but they don't have scoring, do they? But on Brentford,
yeah,
they only have one striker. Also, I think Tony's the only striker they have on the roster as well. So
Mbembo, is that his name? Mbembo,
yeah. He's kind of like a winger / striker.
Yeah,
like he can play both.
Yeah,
but they also did sign Ericsson, so we'll see what kind of physical shape he's in. Because if he's like 80% of Christian Eriksen for Brentford, he'll do really good.
Even like Norwich as well. Norwich have been putting together some wins as well.
Get grinding it out.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one, man.
Do you know what I'm excited for? Even next week, because Everton and Newcastle play each other and they're both in spending, so that's gonna be a nice clash just to see.
Yeah,
it's gonna be an interesting clash.
That's potentially a 6-pointer. I think Everton might get sucked into the relegation battle because we don't know what Lampard's gonna be like.
I don't know, man. Not Everton, man. Nah. No. Do you know what? Everyone forgets here. Like they had Calvert-Lewin, Andros Townsend, Richarlison out, who were like three of their kingpins at the start of the season. I think now you've got them back, and you can go back to the 4-2-2, 4-4-2, or 4-3-3. I definitely think Everton have got enough quality. I really do. I
don't know about the fit. Like, yeah, like with Donny and Dele. Yeah,
because I feel like sometimes they see like relegation. Yeah, it might necessarily be about like the quality. It could just be about like the mindset in it. And those Everton players, I don't know if they've got the mental for that, but we'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much it for like the prem window. And then Liverpool obviously signed Luis Diaz. I'm pretty sure that we're all in agreement. He'll just be like a depth signing for now, and he's probably one for like the future, most likely, because
Give it
obviously
a
they have Mane
season.
and Salah.
Give it a
Yeah,
season open, and he'll be up and running. I don't expect him to do much this season, but next season, give it a season. But
I think
who do you reckon is the best signing of the window?
Bruno G for me. I'm gonna continue my agenda with him. I think that's a statement signing from Newcastle that they really want to stay up, obviously. And
Mm, I'm trying to think. Did Aston Villa bring in anyone?
Lucas
yeah, they
Dinho.
brought Coutinho, Dinho.
Mm. I don't know. It's a bit of a tough one, you know.
I
I'm
ranked
trying to
I
think.
ranked the top three. Do you know what? I ranked the transfers with Statman the other day, and I think top three across Europe were Vlahovic, Guimaraes, and there was one more, and I can't think who it was. And we done great, like Kieran Trippier. We put in like great because the base of what their team is and what they need. But yeah, top three was Vlahovic, Guimaraes, and there was one more. Oh my god, who is someone signed?
It's
Do you
hard
remember what
because
league it was?
all I'm thinking about is just deadline day. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm just not thinking
Yeah,
about
I can't even
everything
think.
else. Oh
Oh my god, let me see. Do you know what? This while we're here, I'm just looking at this. I'm gonna quickly just load it up on my phone and look. It
yeah,
was
we're gonna
interesting. We
let you
put
choose.
all of them. We put loads of them obviously down. I'm just gonna look now because now we're talking about signings quickly. We put Ndombele even in great because I think for what he does to Leon, obviously he offers a lot.
I'm in love with that midfield. Leon just ballers in that midfield.
Oh, that's it. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
Vlahovic, Guimaraes, and then we put Luis Diaz as top.
Huh?
Not as number one, but they were the top three.
Yeah,
Yeah, how
I
can we
think
forget Luis Diaz?
I think
Yeah,
Luis Diaz. I just don't think he'll make an immediate impact. That's
no,
why I probably.
but long term, I
Yeah.
think like that's a great
Yeah.
project there. Klopp knows.
Mm.
Yeah, Klopp
I think
knows the project. Oh, that, and then we put in great signings. Only so we done top three, great, good, average, below par. So the three at the top were Diaz, like I said, Guimaraes, and Ravic, and then in great was Trippier, Undumbele, and we put Robin Gosens in for Inter Milan.
Yeah,
good shout.
good.
Really good shout.
Wing back.
That's it. They've had Perisic and like Darmian playing left back. Like, yeah.
Inter are moving mad over there. I think they're gonna sign the ball in the free in the summer too. So they're kind of staking their claim on Serie A right now.
Okay.
Which would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
So yeah. Just to touch up on other leagues, obviously, since we have Tyon, we got to touch up on Martial to Sevilla. Sevilla are in a title race. Me and my boys and me and my other host Eric, we're like the big Sevilla guys. We're like pushing for them to win La Liga, and I've been transformed into a Martial fan just for the next 6 months, just for the Sevilla hype. I think they're like 4 points off top.
Yeah.
Benzema's currently injured. I think Benzema's currently injured, and that's like Madrid's. Him and Vinicius are the kingpins. So, Ty, do you think Sevilla have it in them to win the La Liga over Real Madrid?
I think they fall short. I just think they fall short. I think they'll give it a good go, but I think the engine might run out. They're still in Europa League. They've got Dynamo Zagreb. I just think the engine might run out towards the end of the year. Real Madrid have a bit more of that know-how to win the league. I think Martial, by the way, is obviously a great signing. Of course, as you're asking me, I think the key for them was the game he played against him in Europa League, where, yes, we didn't score. I get it. But we played very well in that spell in the second half as well. And in the first half, he had Diego Carlos all over the place and Koundé. So I think Lopetegui saw that game and you thought, do you know what? You can be a great focal point for the side. So I really think if Martial, starts for them, I think he can have a really good season. I think he is like a B-Tech Benzema in the way he wants to play the game, link up play. It's not always about scoring goals, but he can score and finish. So I wish Sevilla the best, but I think even getting, a top three finish for them would have been a good season anyway. When you look at, obviously, I know Barcelona are not the Barcelona of old, but it's still Barcelona, Atletico Madrid. You've got Villarreal, you've got Atletico, Bilbao, Sociedad, and Betis. It's quite a competitive league. So I just hope he goes there and performs, because I think if he goes there and performs, I feel like a Ten Hag or Pochettino, whoever it is, same with Van der Beek, they know football. These are managers that know football. They appreciate good footballers, and I feel like they will come back and have a say in this manager's next future plans. So I just hope he stays fit. And I think that's Mark always says, a bit availability is your best ability. So it's about him staying injury free. And I think they've got Osasuna on Saturday, 8:00. So that's their first game. I'll be keeping an eye on that. But it's the perfect move for him, I think. If you look at a bit like what you said about Poch, some people say with Martial, like years ago, he was linked to Real Madrid with Zidane, but people say with Martial, he might be one of them players that suits an Inter Milan who was linked to a Sevilla, a sort of a B-level European team where the pressure is not so much on. And maybe this next 4 months he can enjoy. And I'm wishing him all the best, man. He's already going to be used as a number 9. And that's where I think I was most intrigued to see what was going to happen. Left wing or number 9. And they said he's going to be the focal point. So, yeah, let's see how this ride goes. I'm not going to say too much, but I'm excited for him, man. And I really hope that he can show fans what we've been missing between, August and now.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. All right. So, we'll do, and then since we have been an hour, probably like another 20 minutes, let's get into this Dinho versus Neymar debate. All right. So, I'm sure you guys, I don't know how old you guys are. I'm guessing like you're like 3 to 4 years older than me, probably around that age.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm 21, so I never really saw Ronaldinho. I have watched back full games and everything. I've watched the tapes. Obviously, as a football fanatic, I know how excellent he is, and I have called him before the greatest entertainer the sport has ever seen. Kind of like The Rock in WWE, just the entertainment value is always there for him. But obviously with Neymar, he's my generation's kind of Ronaldinho. I've been watching him since Santos days, since I was like 10, 11, and he was 19, 18 in Santos. And I think he's I think he's the more complete player. Obviously, he's had the better career, because I'm not going to bring stats into this because that's kind of unfair, because Neymar's had the more longevity and he's played longer. But I do agree that Ronaldinho's peak is better. Those 3 years, like where he won every single award known in football. But I still think that Neymar is a more complete player. I'll let you guys talk about Ronaldinho first, and I'll try to counter it to the best of my ability.
Cool. So I think there's this myth that Ronaldinho's prime was like 2 years or 3 years, whatever. He was balling from like PSG all the way up until, let's say, 2006, maybe.
Yeah, I was about to say 2006.
So that's about 5-6 years. Everyone, like, I think because of Messi and Ronaldo, everyone seems to think that their peak's meant to be like 10 years. No. Your average footballer, their peak is about 3 or 4 years. So when people say, Ronaldinho's peak was bare short and whatnot, no. This is just Messi and Ronaldo just completely skewing the science and football altogether. Like, they're just freaks of nature. So when people say, like, he was only on top for a short time, he wasn't. Like, when Ronaldinho was balling, Xavi wasn't even in the side. Iniesta wasn't even in the side. So that's how long ago he was playing at a top level. And see his peak as well. Yeah, his peak was ridiculous. And I mean, from every sense, numbers wise, aesthetically, like, ridiculous. I don't think I've ever seen. I've only seen 2 people get like a standing ovation. That was Ronaldo at Old Trafford when he scored a hat-trick in the black kit for Madrid, and Ronaldinho at the Bernabeu when he absolutely spanked Madrid all over the park. And for me, I don't think he's the best ever, because I feel like Messi's just an alien. But I think what Ronaldinho did in football kind of shaped the way a lot of kids view the game, and a lot of kids want to play the game. There was obviously Dinho before with like the step overs and stuff like that, but Ronaldinho was sort of like flair and end product. He just had too many amazing moments. I mean, the England free kick, Chelsea Stamford Bridge, the bicycle kick where he just chested it and done a bicycle kick in one move like some fucking demon. How many people was sort of like controlling the ball on their back Like someone would just like left a 6 yard like pass, and then he would just turn around and just control it on his back. Like there's even like a clip of him sort of was it like Gattuso, Maldini, Nesta? He was just running rings around them, and he was just so dirty, man, honestly. And I think for me the most compelling thing was he was always sort of like a permanent part of his team. It wasn't like the third wheel or like like a 1-2 punch. It was always him. Like if Barca did well, he would have like a very, very important role in it. And for me, he's just, I'm not gonna say he's like clear of Neymar, but I feel like he's achieved what he should have achieved. Maybe more. But I think with Neymar hasn't really achieved what he should have achieved. And I think that's the difference. Neymar's got ability and he's probably done this and that. But if Neymar retired tomorrow and didn't win a Ballon d'Or or whatever, you'd think it was not a career wasted, but he didn't go on to do what he should have done. Like when I look at Ronaldinho, he won like Champions Leagues, Ballon d'Or, World Cups, whatever he's won. Like every individual award possible he's probably won. If Neymar retired tomorrow, you'd think he hasn't won the World Cup, he hasn't won a Ballon d'Or, he hasn't. Do you know? I feel like for me, if Ronaldinho played in this era, he would still win a couple Ballon d'Ors with Ronaldo and Messi around. I believe so.
Yeah. I think that's quite a good way to end what you just said there. Because I think with it, I'm a bit boring, Mike. If I'm honest, I know I'll be honest with you. I'm sick of this debate. I don't read it. I don't entertain it. Because I say at the end of the day, I feel like the social media world, and it's nothing against you because you're not really into it as well yourself. But people are tweeting. I'm just like, can't you just appreciate that both are very, very good natural ability, fantastic ballers, and that's how I look at it. I'm not here to put, Ronaldinho versus Neymar. What I can do is obviously say what one's achieved, which is what Mark said in terms of Champions Leagues, Ballon d'Ors, World Cups. Obviously with Barcelona, sort of starting him on that way to sort of being great. I think he won the Champions League final against Arsenal when they had to come back from 1-0 down. Giuliano Belletti scored. And then obviously went on to Milan, where his first season he was pretty good, and then the decline kind of happened. But you see that happen with Brazilian footballers as they get older. But with what you said, 15, I was looking at Ronaldinho and I was like, was his peak just 3 years? But when you look at what he was doing at PSG, which weren't really a name then anyway, he was very good there. We missed out on him, guys, for 19 million, by the way. He was meant to sign for us. Yeah. And I remember the rumors and I was getting so excited. And then obviously he went to Barcelona. But I think Ronaldinho is just one of them players that he sort of changed football in a sense as well, of the number 10, you could say, in a sense as well. Because I wouldn't put him as a 3-man midfielder and I wouldn't put him as a wide man. I think when he was allowed to go centrally and sort of drift, it was him. And then he sort of had Kaka that come along after, which I think he sort of took inspiration from Ronaldinho in a different way. But Ronaldinho could score, he could assist, he could create. And then on the flip side, I love Neymar. I've always said now, even Neymar for me is the second best footballer in the world. As much as he might not win loads, I think behind Messi is a naturally gifted footballer. Neymar is definitely clear of Ronaldo and other players on there. But obviously it's about application and so forth. But I'm a massive, massive fan of Neymar, even what he did for us, did against us in the Champions League last season. Neymar, though, did I expect him to win a Ballon d'Or by now? Yes. Did I expect him to, win a Champions League by now? Did he win a Champions League with Barcelona?
Yeah, in 14-15.
Yeah, that's it. I think in Millennium,
I'm not gonna lie, he was really, really good. Like I think he was top. He was joint top goal scorer with Messi, and I think he scored in the round of 16, the quarterfinal, the semi-final, and the final.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
He was really good.
He went on to win a Champions League, and I thought from there he might kick on. I thought like this is the time Neymar's going to really kick on, and he went to PSG, and I think that was kind of for him to be the main man, the project, to be not the understudy to Messi, and it just unfortunately hasn't really worked out due to injuries and other sagas and stuff. But if Neymar retired like 15 said, I can't fault what he said. I think he's underachieved because of his ability. I think he's that good, Mike. I think he's a brilliant footballer, and he just hasn't achieved. And how players are looked at is what they've achieved. And it's like if someone said to me now, would you rather have the career of Vardy or Harry Kane? I'm picking Jamie Vardy all day. Consistent Premier League striker, played for England, won the league, won the Golden Boot. He's achieved more, but people might say Harry Kane's the more gifted footballer in general. But sometimes it's not about that. Do you know what I mean? And I think you've got to put everything together. Ronaldinho just shades it for me. But that's not saying that I don't like Neymar at all. I think Neymar's a brilliant footballer. But I just don't like the debate because I think they're two guys we should just appreciate for different reasons, whether they've done well or not, man. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, I think what pissed me off was like yesterday because I was in that space and I was listening and like they were saying that like Neymar had no like there was like no debate at all. There was no like Neymar had no shot in it, which I think is very wrong. Like there were people saying that Neymar wouldn't be able to cook.
There's definitely two extremes. So there's people that say Ronaldinho nostalgia, and there's people that say like Neymar's clear. I think with Neymar, what doesn't get mentioned is the fact that he's like the victim of being in the same era as like Ronaldo and Messi, and it's a shame because he's been sandwiched in between both. When really and truly, if it was a different era, he would probably be hands down the best player of the generation. But no one really speaks about like sort of his like international record. His international record is stupid. I think he might be like the third, like Brazil's third highest top goal scorer.
I think he's second now.
Second, yeah.
I think he passed R9. I think he's going for Pele now. I don't know how many he's off, but
it's stupid because you don't necessarily see Neymar as a goal scorer. So it speaks volumes about how good he is for Brazil. I think the only shame is that he's been surrounded by mediocrity in it. Like when you look at like when he plays for Brazil, look at like his teammates. You see Wagner Love, you see Leandro Damião, and these players that
Luis Fabiano and that man.
That shouldn't even be wearing a Brazilian top, and Neymar's got to carry them, and he shouldn't have to. But for me, I'm going to go Ronaldinho, but I'm not going to be like, oh, he's clear of him. It's more like a preference, I guess, or maybe I would say he just shades him. But they are two very, very, very good players, man. Like whenever I watch like compilations of both of them, I'm just like in awe, like proper surprised. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna go Ronaldinho.
Neymar's career ain't over, by the way, as well, Mike.
Yeah. He's 30 next week, isn't it? He's 30.
Yeah, he is. Him and Ronaldo share the same birthday.
He needs to land this World Cup next year, man. Like their squad, I don't know if it's the best squad, but it's the perfect time for him to win it.
You need something.
I was gonna get to that because, like, obviously, I never like to compare their Brazil careers because Ronaldinho had the privilege of playing with R9, Rivaldo, Lucio, Cafu, many other good players. While, like 15 said, I remember that 2014 Brazil World Cup. I couldn't name you more than 3 players on that team. I just remember Thiago Silva, I remember Neymar, and I remember Marcelo. That's about it. And probably Dani Alves if he was on at right back. Other than that, I know they had a guy named Fred at striker, and he's horrible. I think he played for Schalke.
There's Fred striker, David Luiz at centre back.
So, and I remember that World Cup, he dominated, and then he had the unfortunate back injury from I think Zuniga.
Like he always does well in international tournaments. I remember the Confederations Cup.
I know exactly. Yeah, I think
it was the 2013 one.
Yeah, there's this massive debate where like Gareth Bale's meant to be like the third best player in the world after like Ronaldo and Messi, and then Neymar. Everyone was just saying Neymar, but you know like what it's like in the UK. Like they don't see it outside of their own bubble. So according to them, it was Gareth Bale that was like the third best player in the world. And then Neymar just pops up in the Confederations Cup, scored against Spain, scored against Italy, scored against Mexico or something like that. And I think Germany as well. And these were all sick goals. I think like three of the 5 goals were on his left foot as well. So it was completely ridiculous. But I feel like he needs something significant just to like even the playing field.
Yeah, I look at their World Cup squad. I actually have them as my winners right now. They're like my prediction. I know it's a little early, but I look at that squad. I like it. I think the only issue is the fullbacks because they don't really have fullbacks. That's the only issue. Hopefully they can fix that. But obviously Vinicius is.
When I look at Brazil,
Vinicius is obvious. Yeah,
I look at Brazil. It feels like they've got like two different squads. So you got like Neymar, like Coutinho, and whoever. And then you got like sort of like Rafinha, Anthony, who else? Vicinius. If, yeah, like I said, they've got a good chance, man. Like I think it just depends on selection. Because you look at them in midfield, Casemiro, Fabinho, and
Fred.
they've got such an abundance of like options, like Bruno G. I think did I say Lucas Paqueta again? Someone that I didn't mention. They've got an abundance of options, man. I feel like Brazil could probably like name two or three 11s, and they'll still look very decent.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have actually seen this documentary, like Neymar's, that came out like last week.
No.
I think that's kind of what sparked this debate because, like, obviously after you watch like someone's documentary, you kind of have like a revisionism, like you kind of have people. So I think that's what kind of sparked it. I watched it, but I already kind of knew most of what happened. But I think it made me fall more in love with him because he's such a baller. But yeah, I think yesterday I tweeted. I think the one player that I wish played in a different era was Neymar because, like you said, that he got sandwiched in this Messi and Ronaldo, and like he was expected to be the next one up, and he's never going to reach that. Obviously, I think it's a little too late for him. Obviously, the torch has kind of been passed down, like the Mbappes and the Hollands. They're kind of the next ones up now. So he never had the opportunity. The chance was in PSG, but then injuries unfortunately happened to him. But I don't know. I just look at him like I think he's like Ty said, like his completeness. Like you see him like on his left foot. He's better with his left foot than most players. Most players are with their right foot. It's kind of ridiculous as a playmaker. Other than Messi, he's probably the best playmaker I've ever seen in my life. Him and as an Ozil are like the two best playmakers I've ever seen in my life that I've had the pleasure of watching.
He's ridiculously good.
He's lost his shooting touch now. I look at him and he can't finish. I think he had like 5 non-penalty goals last year, which is kind of sad to see. He's kind of lost that because I think he's the type of shooter like that. He doesn't put power into every shot he takes. It's all precision. That's all the way he shoots. I think that's the Brazilian thing, other than R9, of course, because he just does every type of finish. But he's kind of lost that, which is kind of sad to see. But yeah, obviously the World Cup would be big for resume. I think if he had won that Champions League against Bayern Munich, that might have. Ballon d'Or was canceled. Ballon d'Or was canceled that year, unfortunately. I don't know if it would have been canceled if Neymar was scheduled to win it. I don't know if that was a bias against Lewandowski or not. That's a debate for others.
I think if he delivered that year, that would have been sort of like his coming out party, because I feel like there's definitely some sort of there's a lot of doubt regarding him. Like people think he's just like a show pony and stuff like that. But I feel like had he had won that, it would have been like, okay, he could do it without Messi. He could do it without. Do you know what I mean? Like it would have been like his standalone achievement. And to be fair, he did play well against Bayern and the other teams as well. So he would have got his flowers, most definitely.
Yeah, I think the one that he missed out on was the year that we beat them, the night in Paris and stuff, that comeback. I think if Neymar was fit, they obviously beat us. There's no chance we beat Neymar and Mbappe that year. And I think the UCL was kind of weak that year. Liverpool went on to win it, but I think a full-strength PSG might have probably beat Liverpool because I think they were also in the group stages together. They were in the same group, and I think they like split the two games. So I think that was like the actual year for Neymar to win the UCL because Bayern Munich the next year, that team was ridiculous, the 6-2 win. So, yeah, it's just a shame. Hopefully he gets his flowers after he retires like other legends have. But, yeah. That's pretty much it. It's a good hour, 20
that was wicked,
minutes.
Man. It goes quick as well, man. Thank you for having me on, Mike. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm sure not to do the quick plugs and stuff. Obviously, the Twitter for the pod, @Juego Pod. I'm going to start interacting more on it again because I've been a little off of it. The website, which I'm still fixing up a little. I think I posted one article. I have to get back on that. I think it's juego.bonito.com. Check that out. I'll check the United Journal. I'm going to write an article tonight about Man United's lack of depth and whether it will be an issue, which will be a good article to write about. And then, of course, my Twitter is at Michael_Griggs26. Ty, obviously, you can plug your stuff.
Thank you so much. Yeah, people, you can follow me obviously at Tyrone MC __. Me and 15 also run the Trafford Tunnel. So you can check that on all platforms as well. So that's on YouTube as well. You can watch our visuals on there, and also Never a Foul. Make sure you go and subscribe to Never a Foul on the YouTube. Make sure you check them out on all platforms as well. And keep supporting Mike. Obviously new to the StreamYard side of things, and obviously the YouTube and stuff. So yeah, man, good luck on your chapter, man. I hope it goes well for you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Quick question, Mike. How often are these streams gonna be?
After discussing with my friends, I think we're gonna do one every Friday because it's like the only time that we're all three of us available to stream. I think next Friday specifically we're gonna do the UCL preview because UCL round 16 is coming upon us. I think it's in 2 weeks, so that's the next episode. But yeah, I think every Friday will probably be the good day to do it.
Yeah, straight from the horse's mouth. You heard it every Friday.
You got it.
Thank you, and thank you both of you, and thank both of you for coming on. Of course.
No worries, bro.
It's been something we've been planning for the last couple of weeks, so it's fine. Good to do it.
Yeah, wicked, man. Thank you.
No worries, man. Safe, man. Safe.
Yep. And thank you everyone that tuned in. Obviously, most people will probably watch it after I upload it. Anyone that tuned into the live stream, I appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully next week we'll have more viewers, and like and subscribe. And peace.